All right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time today. In this webinar, we're excited to introduce some of our meat evaluation products. We have our butcher beef cuts product right here in front of me, laid out here for you, and then we have right behind me here my shoulder here is the lamb carcass, and then our chicken cuts as well. So wanted just to start out with welcoming you today and taking the time here as we get started. So first off, like I just kind of said to you, there's a lot on this page, so don't want you to get too overwhelmed by it. But we are just bringing out our 2024 new catalog, and what we're talking about today, they are in the catalogs here. So love to have you take a look at our catalogs, and that is something that's been shipped out. We also have digital forms on our forms of this on our website. But overall, this is a great opportunity here to share with you the different products that help with meat evaluation. So we have our largest one here. It is our butcher beef cut models, and then our butcher pork, which I don't have in studio here today with me, but we do have those as well, the butcher pork models, and then our butcher lamb, which is right here. And if I pick this up, you can see our butcher lamb, and then also our chicken model, if I bring that to the forefront here. So these are four different models of the real thing. Trying to make it user-friendly for you, the educator, for students to be able to touch and feel and be able to learn about meat evaluation and meat science by not having all the mess, not having to worry about decay or smell or anything of that nature with these products. So Denise and I have created this PowerPoint for you today to really walk through all these different opportunities for you in your classroom concerning meat evaluation. So let's start with a demo of this just to kind of get you familiarized and get an understanding of these products. So first off, all of the products here have our different parts and pieces to them. So with the lamb here, all right, we have our butcher lamb cuts, for example. And so as I take that and show this off to you, as you can see it, there are different colors. So we have different colors with different purposes. So as I look here, and as you can see, whoop, taking it apart already, you can see this, where in this case, we have the tan areas on here are for the fat areas that are part of this. The pink areas here, you can see in the ribs, are the bones. All right. And then we have muscles, which are the red area that you can see both the front and the back here in that. And then we also have the yellow, which you can kind of see along the lines there. And then if I take the other part of it here, you can see in here, the yellow areas there are for cartilage or ligaments. And so each one of our products here, and if I kind of scroll through here, our butcher pork, our butcher beef, and then our chicken all have these same kind of focuses in this case. Now, going from our models here, they are all magnetized, so they stick together, very user-friendly for you, the customer. And if I grab my chicken here, you can see in this case, again, same kind of markings here for our chicken. So the fat is that tan color. We have the light pink is the bone, yellow for cartilage, the pink tan for the white muscle, and then the pink for the medium muscle, and then the dark pink for that dark muscle. So different types of product here, from chicken, the beef, the pork, but all of them have this kind of legend or color code key for it, so students can understand what are the different muscles, what are the different parts of this that need to be. In this case, for our chicken, we also have the skin on it. So you also have that skin included there too. So all of this they're showing you with that demo, not only these products they pull apart, they then break down into the drumstick, into the wing, but the wing can then be taken apart as well into smaller pieces, allowing them to see, in this case, the yellow, the cartilage. All right, where is that meat? What is that? The pink, is it dark pink? Is it a light pink? What is going on there? What is in that focused area for the animal? So in this case, all of these, and you can see it with our beef here too. If I take this apart, we have it upside, I flip it over, and you can see all the different parts and pieces inside, just like you would the real thing. So in that case, if I kind of work my way here, this demo kind of a thing is, again, allowing students to walk through and to share with you a little bit of this. Kind of the demo part is being able to walk through and show them both the outside of it. This is what the carcass would look like. Now, in this case, our beef that is in front of me, this is about 1/4 the real size of a beef carcass. And so we've shrunk it down so it fits on a table. This is about a 6-foot table or a 5-foot table here. And so we've shrunk it down into this size here. So then you can actually be able to present it in the classroom, show all the parts and pieces, but then it breaks down. So I'm going to take one part of it, take a few parts and pieces off for easy usage, but we can then cut through and show the different parts and pieces. So in this case, we actually can break this one down into the primals. So if that is something that you need to start with, you can break it into the different parts and pieces, and you can start talking with your students and tell them, okay, here are the primal pieces. All right, here's our different parts and pieces. This is what they look like in the primals. So let's go through primals first. Then working from there, then you can start breaking down and show the different areas. And then where you would actually make those cuts. So here, where would you make the cuts? Where's the next cut that you would have to go, and what's involved there? So we have the muscle, and then we have the bone, so you can kind of see what that is and where you would take that off and where your knife will go into that. Being able to show the different cuts then that are included here, going through and saying, okay, let's look at where that cut is on that part in that piece. Being able to then put that back together, all right, and then showing then, yep, how does it actually then function as a whole primal as well? Where would be the other cuts that you'd want to cut through? What are you looking for? Being able to look and count how many ribs they have, and being able to go through and then finding where is that cut, where should that cut be? Where do I go into that world? So kind of breaking apart and showing you different parts and pieces, but again, then being able to put it all back together and then sharing with you as I put this back together. Right? Here, get it right order here. So putting this back together as I have this here, right? Being able to then show the different primals, show the different pieces in that format, and then also what they are as a whole as you put these all together. See, right? And then how they line up, how they all meet together, and what they are included here as a whole part. So again, the great piece about this is that there are different cuts from every single one. So you can cut and you can have your tomahawk here. You can see how that is cut, and then where would you make your next cuts in that world? What is involved with each cut, both the outside and the inside, allowing you to really work through your students. Trial and error, figuring out how do they all go together? Where do you put them? How do they all work? So with that, let's talk about some of this and bringing it alive into your classroom. So going from having different options there from your your different chicken, your lamb, your pork, and your beef. And you can see here they have different chuck, rib, loin, or round going through that. The other side here is as we evaluate, one of the great pieces and how we can help you as well is within our curriculum. So the curriculum is also included here. And some of the best practices that we have found is giving them that overview all together. And so in this case here, I've included some different really great YouTube videos, some different videos that you can use to really show what and how it all works. So in this case, a lot of times we would say to start out with them learning. Again, this is a great video from Bon Appetit where it's how to butcher an entire cow. Let them see it all happening all at once, going at once. Then bring in the meat cuts product so they can see, oh yeah, this is how it was when it was all put together. This is how it is when it's all put together. Now, let's follow what they just did. Let's see it being cut apart. Let's see what is going on in that case. So if you click on the video here and we share, here we go, the video. You will see the start of this, of going and cutting through the whole part of it and all the different parts and pieces of it, allowing students then to see how this is happening, where they'd be cutting, allowing them to stop and actually cut or go through this video and hold it up and say, okay, what part are we talking about here? Talk about the top round. Okay, so if I move these and move this, okay, where is that located? What do I do in each section of it? As you can see here, great visuals being able to take each part and each piece and cutting it through. And we will talk about that and go through that in just a little bit as we go through our shoulder, okay? And so as you can see here, some of our curriculum goes through how you actually would cut that shoulder, where you would cut for the loin. We have visuals here that show a real carcass, and then below it would be the different cuts that we have in our view. So it walks you through and it works together and takes you into that world. So allowing you to be able to see the different parts and pieces, as well as then the overall effect of this as well, working it through and through in that world. So in other areas, some options for you is, again, YouTube videos. There are some great YouTube videos. And so we have included with this some of these YouTube videos that are just outstanding from Pro Butcher, from Bon Appetit, from other places that walk you through. In this case, Pro Butcher has how to cut up a pig, your pork. And so going through that same thing. So using our models, you can then share with what's happening in the butcher shop and then doing it yourself with the cuts that have already been cut with this. Other opportunities for you is to do field trips to local butcher shops, allowing students to see what's going on in a butcher shop, what's happening, how they process the animal, but also where do they store it, how do they work through that. The other way is sometimes you can't bring teachers can't bring their students to the butcher shop or on a field trip, so invite them into the classroom. All right, talk to farmers, bring farmers into the classroom, bring butchers in the classroom, let them talk about how they work with the animal, what they're doing in that sense, so then the student can get an understanding of what to do in that world. And then also another area for you is to work with your culinary classes, work with your family consumer science classes that have culinary as opportunities there. How are they using the different meat cuts? What meat cuts are they using? Could you figure that out? Why are those so important, or how much do they cost? Working with them. The other one is working with your lunch crew in a school, talking about things like safety regulations, sanitary regulations. All of those play in to evaluation and understanding the meat process and also the cooking process, what you're going to do. Work with your own school, within your own school, some of the lunch crew. What do they do, or what do they have to do with regulations and sanitary things and things of making sure that they're doing it the right way? What is the government? How does that interact with them? All of those are great options for you to kind of hone in and to bring about new kind of engagement or interact or activity within your classroom there. So we're also showing a few more here of different views. Again, how to cut up a chicken, and then also how to cut up a lamb. So again, if you can't bring it into your classroom, or maybe you can bring only a few parts, these videos really help with getting your students to start to think about, okay, what are the different parts? How big is the animal compared to what I'm going to be doing? What are those pieces that are the harder ones to cut? What are the easier ones to cut? If I take apart our beef here, we have a lot of different cuts in one area. So you can take off different parts and pieces and say, okay, how many different cuts do you have on each primal? And then where do they break down? What are the primals break down into other more retail cuts? What are those cuts that I need to be focused on and be thinking, what are those costs? Again, so there's research opportunities there to go and research how much different types of cuts cost. So if you're doing your tomahawk or your sirloin strip, what are those different costs that you have? What is it, and why would it be costing differently? What is different about those cuts? What is the reasoning maybe behind it of how big they are? Why, the flavor to them, the marbleization of them, all those different things can be used. But these videos are a great opportunity for you to get started, get them to see them being cut, the correct types of cuts, what's happening there, and then using our curriculum to walk through with these cuts as well, helping you to understand some of the cuts, and also then letting the students use hands-on learning, being able to go touch and feel, go through, what does this actually look like? How does this work? So some other helpful products for evaluation that we have are some kind of in that same realm is we have a knife skills kit. All right. So that helps students to learn proper cutting technique. All right. Different size of knives, what you need to cut, how to cut different things, not just focusing on meat cutting, but other areas within the culinary world. And so what does that look like? How does it help? Having them to be having that knife skill before they go and cut is very valuable and helps with liability or any type of issues that might come from that world. We also have a food science nutrition lab kit. That's another great feature to incorporate into your meat evaluation. Is just that, what is the science behind it? What are some of those nutritional values, as you're not just focused on meat, but why is it important to have that? And what are you going to be using the knowledge behind what you're doing? And then finally, we have a beef and pork 3D meat cuts poster. This is a great feature to put on your wall, to have in your classroom, allow students to be able to see the different types of cuts, the different type of primals, and then the different types of cuts of each primal for both the beef and the pork products, cuts that you have. Now, let's weave in a little bit of soft skills into this as well. So some of the opportunities here is not just on the meat evaluation processing with the different products here, but it's also how do you get students start to think about different career opportunities? How do you think about, okay, as you're going and working in this way, what soft skills can you bring into it? So we have created some scenario-based learning cards that include a 5-minute icebreaker activity on these cards. So it brings with a workplace scenario challenge, getting a challenge of in this world, and then doing a journaling activity. And then there's a pre and post assessment for you. So you do that at the beginning, you do it at the end, but this is all involved with our food processing, production, and safety scenario card. So it's working with within the industry of food processing and production. So getting them to think about this and interact. We have 2 examples here. So in this case, we do a problem solving one. So in this case, we're looking at different cuts of soup for the soup production line. What's happening? You have to read through this problem solving issue several times. Joseph has grabbed a knife out of your hand or pushed you aside saying, do I have to do everything around here? What's happening in this case? So how do you interact with that? How do you make sure that you're keeping yourself safe, you're following good safety standards, and also food processing standards? So it walks you through points to ponder or consider for you, for your worker, co-worker Joseph, and then also for your supervisor. So you look at it in 3 different areas. How does this work? How does it interact? And then there's some key questions for you as well for you to walk through to make sure you're asking these questions about every single person and working through that scenario. The other one we have for an example for you is our work ethic. So in this case, you're going to be starting a new job and you need to work through, okay, what does that mean for you? Okay. What is that work ethic? What are you going to be doing? What happens if you have setbacks, if you have problems? How can you work through that and interact with other people that keeps you, employed, keeps you working towards the goals you have? So there's a coworker in here, there's your overall team and a supervisor again that you have to work through this and walk through how do you help and interact with other people in this situation with food processing, production, and safety careers? So again, there is a question here of walking through 19 different employability skills that you have. Work ethic is one. The other one we said was problem solving, allowing you to have your students do scenario-based learning in the world of meat evaluation. Now, with all this being said, we also have free resources for you. It's important for us to give you something to work through and to help you along the way. So we have our products, but here's a few free resources. One is our webinars. This webinar, other webinars that we have will be recorded. We have them on our website under realityworks.com/webinars. This allows you to be able to learn and to understand and to help your program. One of the things that we have is a work-based learning activities for your CTE program. So how do you get your students to start thinking about, we're not just doing this to learn about meat evaluation, but there are career opportunities out there. There are work-based learning opportunities that you can use any of the products that we have to really hone in and get those students thinking about future careers and future opportunities for them. We also have career exploration lessons for you, including ones focusing on nutrition, meat evaluation, and focusing in that world specifically. There's a host of them out there. We have them in agriculture, health science, family consumer science, a lot of different areas, but there are specific ones to career exploration that can help you. They are free lessons. They are already made for you. You can implement them today after you download those lessons. Some more free options for you here is we have a free poster infographic for you, all focusing on culinary and food science careers. So that is there for you to download and to print off, put it in your classroom, let students start to think about what is their world in that sense. And then we also have a program implementation resources on agriculture programs, not just meat science, but all of the agricultural options, and that can be a help for you as well. So those are there for you in that world. So additional resources is, again, check out us on social media, as we both have blogs, we have Facebook page, Instagram, YouTube videos that allow you to be able to take in these pieces of information, be able to use them in your classroom, help to demo them in your classroom as well, all there for you on our website. Finally, as we get close to ending here, we're celebrating Agriculture Month with a giveaway. So for this, we would love to have you enter to win. You get to pick. This goes through April 1st. One of these 4 options there, from Animal Clinic Design Kit, Farm to Fork Lab Kit, learning about how the food comes from the farm to your fork. There's also a Measurement Math Training Kit and a horse kit for you to pick from. So 4 options. If you win, you get to pick which one of those, and you get a free kit that will be shipped and sent to you just for entering in our Agriculture Month giveaway. So make sure that you sign up. There is a link there that we'll be sending to you as well. So sign up there to be able to get into that giveaway for Agriculture Month. With that, are there any questions that we might have, or as we kind of walked through this, about the meat cuts themselves, or any of the discussion points that we made today?
Thanks, Jamey. Yeah, I've seen a couple questions roll in. First one, could you discuss what classes the butcher meat cuts would be used in?
Yeah. So, it's going to really be the gamut. I know in some schools they have an introduction to agriculture type class or principles of agriculture. When you get into meat science, into food processing, that is probably where you would start to see a lot of these be used. There are also other opportunities. I know with FFA, there's a lot of meat judging, meat evaluation, meat science competitions. So knowing the different parts, these all line up very well with those competitions. So if you have a team, it might be the perfect thing to have so they can see it visually, understand it, know it, interact with it there. It's also something where, again, from that principles to agriculture, there are those classes as you get into that meat science class, as you get into animal science, when you're talking about the cow, the pig, the chicken. Well, what do you do with them? What do you do with a beef cow? Well, you process them. You need to go through that harvesting. What does that look like? What does that do for you? So it can be, those general classes, and then you have your meat science, you have your meat evaluation classes, you have your food processing type classes. It can fit very well in those classes as well.
Awesome. Yeah, and it looks like Brian actually uses beef, pork, and lamb models for 4-H and FFA meat judging. And so he was just asking if there's any tips on keeping the magnets in the models
Yeah,
for
great
the,
question. So any of the things like that, we have all these do have models or magnets. They are, uh, strong magnets, but if they would ever pop out, you can give us a call. You can talk to our product support, and we have suggestions, not only glue opportunities or options there, or we can bring them in and fix them as well. But we do have opportunities there to help you be able to glue something, if that would be, to then be able to put that right back in and not let that happen again. We are focused on our quality. So if that ever is an issue, we would be happy to work with you to get that fixed, or be able to make sure that that is right if something like that would happen. Our product support is great in that area, and they're happy to help in that world. So we do have some ability. We can get in touch with you on that as well, and make sure that we get that taken care of.
perfect. Thank you. And then final question here. What kind of career exploration would these products be used best for?
Yeah. So in this case, one of the great things here is that it hits a lot of different areas. Your food production. Anybody who's going into food processing, if you're going into a butcher plant, or you're going to be in a large scale production, those are definitely classes that you want to be thinking about, and or careers that you're thinking about. This is the type of class you'd want to take. It also goes to, again, some of those smaller farms where, hey, we're going to do some of this processing ourselves. We need to do that because it saves on money. It saves on the ability for us not to have to add costs to our production. Sometimes they will do that themselves. But any of that kind of meat evaluation, and looking into that, there's a lot of industry right now that need to make sure they are following codes, following requirements, following regulations. And so having students know what is expected, how to take care of the carcass, how to store it, what kind of cuts you should be doing, all of those types of things. Those are a lot of different food industry opportunities there in the industry to be able to go after for really great jobs and growing job opportunities in that marketplace.
Awesome. Well, I am not seeing any other questions roll in at this time, Jamey.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for taking the time to be part of this webinar. If you do have more questions or comments, feel free to email us or reach out to Realityworks. Also check out our website, realityworks.com, and you can just type in meat cuts and you'll come right to all of our different products here. But thank you for taking the time and learning about this. If you have more questions, feel free to reach out with anything. And we, again,